Valerian had been positioned another 30 feet ahead in the woods surrounding the house. She found the hunter exactly where she expected, also with a knife to the heart. As she removed it, Beth noted that it was a duplicate of the knife that had been in Tybo's chest. Tossing the blade aside, Beth slapped a bag of blood onto Valerian's fangs as well before turning to peer through the bushes at the house they'd been watching since just after sunset. It had been empty by the time they'd got their orders from Mortimer at the Enforcer House and made their way here. The inhabitants, a Rogue Immortal and his minions, had already been gone by then, probably to hunt up new victims. Beth, Tybo, and Valerian had sat here, awaiting their return for most of the night, and now it was almost dawn. But a few minutes ago a van had pulled into the driveway. The garage door had opened. The van had pulled in, and the door had closed without them ever seeing how many people were in the vehicle, which was why Beth had ordered Tybo to approach the house. They needed to know how many rogues they were dealing with and what the situation was. It was vital to their approach. If there were innocent mortals who needed saving, for instance, it would affect how they handled everything. It seemed, however, that their presence hadn't gone unnoticed, and one of the returning rogues had managed to slip out unseen and sneak up on them. Her question now was whether that was the only one. Had the newly turned rogue just been sent out to check around and happened upon them? Or had they been spotted, and he was sent out to take care of them? And if so, how many others, if any, were out scouring the trees surrounding the house, looking for them? Aside from whether there were innocents around, Beth also needed to know how many rogues were inside besides Walter Simpson, the master rogue of this group. Unfortunately, getting those answers and doing anything with them would be hard, since her entire, and very tiny, team was now incapacitated, except for herself. Cursing under her breath, Beth took a quick glance around and then moved to the nearest tree and swiftly climbed up into the branches. She settled on a large, sturdy branch, 15 feet up, took a moment to be sure that she had a good view of the surrounding area and that no one could sneak up on her, and then slid her cell phone from her pocket. Mortimer answered on the first ring. "Problem?"
"Oh, no, Mortimer. I just called to say hi," she said lightly, rolling her eyes, and then explained grimly. "Tybo and Valerian are both down from knives to the heart. The blades are out, and I think I got their attacker unless there were two. But that leaves me on my own with a rogue who may or may not have others to help him, and who may or may not know people are out here."
"The attacker's not talking?" Mortimer asked.
"Hard to talk with your windpipe hacked open,"
Beth said dryly. "I would imagine so," Mortimer agreed, and she was sure she could hear a smile in his voice. "Well, you are in luck. A couple of reinforcements walked in just moments ago. They will be there in 20 minutes. Stay put until they join you." Beth opened her mouth to answer, but paused as a woman's scream came from the house. It was long, loud, and filled with horror. So, she thought, there's the answer to one of my questions. Yes, there are innocents inside the house. "Beth," Mortimer said, sounding tense now, "do not go in there on your own. Wait for backup."
"Yeah, can't promise you that,"
Beth said solemnly as the terrified scream turned into an agonized one.
"Tell them to hurry."
"Beth!" Mortimer said with alarm. But she'd already ended the call and slipped the phone back into her pocket so that she could drop out of the tree. "Feck!" Scotty snapped, bolting toward the door. Mortimer had put the phone on speaker when he checked the caller ID and saw who was calling. They'd all heard Beth's words and the shrieking in the background. Scotty knew damned well that agonized scream would have Beth charging into the house with little care for her own well-being. She needed backup now. "Donnie, go with him," Mortimer barked, slamming the phone back into its cradle when the dial tone announced that the connection had been broken.